Tyrone Gathers Jr., your host of The Source of the Inkwell, live on KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns in regards to this programming or any other programming, please call 816-599-6893. Also, you can check out this broadcast and many other broadcasts on our station on KUAW.org. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, on Twitch, on Periscope, YouTube, Alexa, and your Google Echo, and on TuneIn Radio. All you got to do is type in KUAW Radio, and we'll pop right up. Now, this broadcast is dedicated to the classroom aspect. I've noticed that during this pandemic, we had several students who decided to stay home virtually. And the virtual learning environment added more to the divide that we see in education. Now, a lot of kids that were slammed the hardest were our rural kids as well as our inner city children in regards to the virtual education piece. And they suffer because of connectivity issues with internet, as well as materials, as well as just people actually just caring about them. So one thing that myself and my colleagues have noticed was that the divide was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger with our students. So in the discussions that we were having, we were like, well, how can we close the divide academically with our students? And a lot of good ideas came up. Two of them that were pretty prime was teaching school all year round, and which is not a popular choice, and also mandatory summer school. Now, of course, some school districts are doing mandatory summer school, some districts are not. But personally, I feel that parents, this is a time where you can work together with the teacher in regards to helping to close that gap, because it does take a village. Not to be a cliche, but it's real talk. We must be a village in regards to piecing things together with working together with our students. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to briefly talk about a few things that we can do as a team to help get our kids together. Now, as summer vacation approaches, one thing we got to keep in mind is that kids are gearing up to just, have little regard for academics. They get to hang out with friends, school's closed per se for the most part, as well as the necessity to put the brains on pause and let fun time kick in. Now, I'm not sitting up here telling parents to kill off their kids' vacations. No, not at all, because I'm not doing that. As a teacher, I gave myself a brief time to chill, and my kid having a brief little time to hang out too. But like I tell parents and I tell my students, the human brain is designed to learn nonstop. Even when you're sleeping, you're learning. So my thing is, if you have this computer that God put in your mind to continuously learn, why not feed them more information? So parents, we sometimes are intent with the academic summer slide as well too. We sometimes say, hey, look, we're not going to focus on school. Let's do something different. But think about it, parents. Work full time. Can we backslide on our jobs? No. So we shouldn't allow our kids to backslide on their academics too. Not saying that you are intentionally. We need to keep it going. So although there's a break in the classroom, we shouldn't allow a break in learning. So one of the first things we can do, parents at home, is to keep our kids reading. There are a lot of summer reading programs that are school districts, that are schools, libraries, reading programs. Even if you don't want to do that, or if you can't find a program, you can always take the kids to the library to pick up a book and read. Studies have shown that kids lose up to 25% of their reading skills over the summer months. And keep in mind, depending on where you are, the summer months may be June, July, August, piece of May, June, July, August. So you got about 2 to 4 months of no in-class learning. So kids can lose up to 25% of their reading skills. That's a lot. And this will have a significant impact on the ability for kids to get those reading scores up by the school year. There are a lot of kids that I've tested that when I look at their reading scores at the beginning of the school year, they're still stuck on a year prior, if not 2 or 3 grade year levels behind. That's like the average, to be a grade level or 2 behind coming into the new school year. And that's, although it's common, it's not good. Because if your kid's in the 7th grade and they're reading on the 6th grade level or a 5th grade level, that's saying that their instructional reading level is not on the grade level in which they should be on. And that can be a range of, that's like a gateway issue. Kids not being able to understand the content. You got all kind of issues coming in after that. Attendance issues, behavioral issues, extreme academic issues, a lot apathy, a lot of those things can kick in. So one thing you need to know is that a report at MLive shows that income disparity widens the reading gap over the summer even more. Children in low-income households consistently lose more than 2 months of reading ability each summer, while the children in middle to upper income homes may remain steady or actually gain skills during vacation. So what I'm saying is people expect lower income families to not go and have those reading skills. Now, the good thing about it is a library card doesn't cost anything. So parents, of course, you probably say, well, my kid reads an ebook or they read on their phone. Now, you also read about 20 to 25% slower on screen than you would with an actual book. Have your children actually reading a book. Also, Scholastic Books cites research that shows reading just 6 books over the summer months can go far in keeping students on track when they return to the classroom. One way to ensure your kids to keep reading all summer long is to schedule regular trips to the library, as we discussed earlier. Many schools have summer reading programs that encourage participants to read a certain number of books before the summer season is over. So there's like an incentive to read those many books. And parents, have your kids have an incentive too. So tell your kid, hey, look, if you read this book here, you'll get this. Or if you read these 2 books here, we'll go here. Give them an incentive. And there's nothing wrong with giving kids an incentive. I mean, they're kids. Kids like that kind of stuff. Matter of fact, adults, we get an incentive too when we go to work. It's called paychecks and bonuses and overtime. So let's do that. Let's get our kids, in that realm of thinking. In addition, Scholastic offers additional ideas to incorporate reading into regular summer routine. So find something to read every day. Encourage kids to read the comics in the newspaper every morning or online resources while playing on the computer. Now, one parent, I hear a lot of people say that they don't want their kids reading comic books. That's the thing. My son sometimes is not, when he was younger, he didn't eat certain things. So what I would do, I would give him a small piece of candy before he would eat a vegetable or a dinner he wouldn't like. And I noticed that when I would do that, it would excite his taste buds to where he would start eating things on a regular. Like, for example, he didn't eat spinach. He eats it now at 5. Really earlier than that. At like 3, he was eating spinach because I would give him a little piece of candy and then boom, he's eating that spinach. But same thing goes with kids. Give them their dessert first. And what I mean by that is let them read something that they want to read. And what that does is it gives them the ability to want to read more. So you got to, excite that reading palate, those taste buds in their mind for reading. But also find, which leads into finding things that your kids want to read. Ask the librarian at your local library or your school, on recommendations that your kids might want to read. What's the end thing the kids are wanting to read based on age or based on reading level, based on interest? What's trending now for reading for kids? I remember when Twilight came out, every kid would want to read Twilight. They want to read about Edward and that little vampire boy. Edward's the vampire, I don't know, but every kid wanted Twilight. Or when Harry Potter came out, every kid wanted Harry Potter. Dork Diaries, every kid wanted Dork Diaries. What was another one? Diary of a Wimpy Kid. My kid used to always get that. Or Bone, a little white caricature running around in some kind of prehistoric land. Something. So find out what's trending. Maybe a kid might want to read that. Kids who like what they are reading are sure to read more. I will say that again. Kids who like what they're reading, they are sure to be the ones to read more because they're going to want to read more stuff like it. Also, read aloud. Nothing wrong with reading aloud. I do it all the time sometimes. All the time sometimes. Okay, that's kind of a contradiction, but I do it frequently. Ask your child to read a paragraph from the book they're reading, you at night. So instead of you reading the story to the kid, have your kid read they're reading to you. Um, Ask them to read a paragraph from their current book to you at night or read to them before bed. Children of all ages, including teens, can benefit from hearing books read aloud from them, especially children who are currently struggling with their own reading skills. That builds up confidence. So hearing their voice, like for example, when you hear someone for the first time, they're able to hear their voice because they've been deaf for a little while. It gives them more confidence to speak more. Okay. Now, some kids are geared towards reading. You got some kids that are geared towards math. Now, me, I'm not a math kid. I'm not. However, math is a skill that kids need. Math is another subject that tends to get lost in the summer shuffle. It does. So the Texas Instruments website cites that with research from the National Association for Summer Learning shows that students will lose approximately 2 months of math skills in the summer if they don't participate in some sort of educational activity over their break. So kind of the same thing with reading. 2 months, 25%, you're losing some time. Research also shows that losses in math tend to be even higher than those in reading, forcing math teachers to spend a significant amount of time at the beginning of the year to review rather than introduce new items. Now, yeah, August, September, when we come back to school, I will say we're doing review that whole month and a half. And we're not doing new stuff until like mid-October. And that's losing time. So fortunately, there are many opportunities for students who want to retain their math skills over the summer months. Texas Instruments is a great resource that offers a number of ways for students to hone their math skills while playing fun games and participating in activities. I know there's a website called KUAW Math that my kids like to go on. They say, hey, I'm done with my work. Can I go to KUAW Math? That's cool. And there's math games. What was that math game with kids? It was like Pac-Man, but he was green, like a math chomper. And it would say like chomp all of the denominators or all the variables of whatever. And if you chomp it correctly, he'll make a little happy sound. If he chomps a bad one, he gets sick. But yeah, now that game right there, I used to love playing that game when I was in school. Gosh, I need players in the field to help me out. But Texas Instruments also offers the following tips on parents to incorporate math learning through summertime. Encourage students to take math or science-related jobs that will help them refine their academic abilities while learning important job skills. So, for example, a lot of 8th grade students are wanting to look at Worlds of Fun. Yeah, have them get jobs where they're actually working at the register. So, like I remember when I was younger, we would go to McDonald's or to a store or something like that. And my dad would say, "How much did you get back?" And then the cashier would say something. And my dad said, "No. I'm asking him, how much money should I be getting back?" And if we couldn't get it right, it was a problem. So he was like, and he would tell the cashier person too, there's going to be a time where that computer breaks. You need to know what's going on. So that was one thing that always helped us out. And to this day, I still kind of put it in my mind, okay, I should be getting this back. And I would always quiz myself. Look for summer camps that utilize skills learned in math, such as robotics and space camps, like STEM. I know that Mr. Walker with KUAW Radio also with Black Family Technology, and they have a robotics program that's real good. And they do an actual STEM camp. Then you also have a STEAM village here in Kansas City as well. So find those STEM or those STEAM programs that can really benefit off the math aspect and using math and reading skills together too. You can't have one without the other. Encourage a student to tutor others in math subjects he has already mastered. So if your kid actually mastered a skill, have them tutor other kids. Or parents, if your kids are struggling, have them find a kid that has mastered certain skills. Helps struggling students find remedial summer work that they can do to improve their skills. Like, for example, lawn care. That's a lot of geometry right there. Angles, all that. So get out there and cut their grass. My dad said, get out there and cut their grass. And, as you're cutting it, you're actually using geometrical shapes to get that yard looking right. So, do stuff like that. Find ways to add math to daily activities, such as calculating the volume of water in the city pool. Or it's like I said earlier, when you go out and buy something, have your kid do the math in their head. How much money should I get back? Or like, like with baking or cooking, use measurements. How much do I need of this to do this? Or when you're working on a car, or when you're picking something, what size wrench goes with this particular screw? And then let teens get in the trip planning action by setting a budget. Ooh, calculating fuel needs. So yeah, when you're doing a family vacation, have your kid help out with the budget. We have X amount of dollars. What all can we do and what all can we afford with this much money? Summer learning should not be separate from summer fun. This is what Holly Larson said. She's a math subject matter specialist for Texas Instruments. She said activities can be enjoyable while still adding educational value to a teenager's summer. Okay, see, keeping the mind sharp during summer months. Colorado Education offers additional tips to help students continue to exercise their thinking muscle, the brain, throughout the summer months. Ideas from a former teacher and current Learning RX staff member, Heather Lovelill, she included that when you research places you'll be visiting over summer, you form a discovering of exploration and geography. So like if you're going to the Grand Canyon, what's the geography, what's the history behind that? Find activities to get your kids familiar. Like when I moved to Spain to do a summer learning program, we had to actually not only know that we were learning language, we had to learn the history, the geometry, geography, the history, the culture, all of that stuff before we even went. The socioeconomic areas, the everything, because you can't actually live somewhere without knowing what's going on. Let's see. Also, set aside time to work on academic skills every day. Give your family 1/2 hour every day to read or work on math problems or indulge in fun activities like brain teasers or crossword puzzles. Turn that TV off. Turn the video games off. I remember my dad was playing a video game one time. Or no, he came upstairs and saw I was playing one, and I was telling him these video game codes. He listened. He's okay. Now let me ask you a question. Do you know those math formulas like you do those video game formulas? I'm like, whoa, that was deep. So give them a break from that. Turn off that social media, all that, and say it's 30 minutes, read, do these math problems, do something to exercise your brain. Because the children may not mind the thinking part of the activity quite as much. So a lot of kids like to think. Like I tell my students, I don't know anyone who doesn't like to know who does not like to know what's going on. Now, it may get frustrating trying to figure things out, yes, but in the end result is we like to know what's going on. We like to know that we figured something out. We deep down like a challenge. Now, some people may not like to be challenged. However, we do like to overcome a challenge, if that makes sense. So in addition to these tips, Lovell recommends limited time in front of, like I said, video games and television. So, you know, also parents, one good thing you can do is have kids use their imagination. Go outside and play. Go outside. It's a bottle of water, it's a popsicle. Go outside and play. Come back in during lunchtime. Something. Have kids go out there and discover nature. Go take a walk. Go play basketball. Go sit outside on the stoop and just have a conversation. Because one thing I'm noticing, this is what adults too, is communication is an attribute that we fail to hold in high regard, as well as comprehension. If communication is the door, comprehension is the key. So it's like we don't know how to talk. We always on the phone. We always texting. That's silly. So get them out there thinking. Get them out there focusing on things that can open up that imaginational realm, because imagination is also a gateway to learning. Because when you imagine, the brain is working, it's moving, it's exercising, it's learning. Then also you want to do more research on what you imagined. I mean, think about that. My son likes dinosaurs, so he wants to learn more about dinosaurs. One time he thought he was, I think the boy still think he, I look back there, he's probably dreaming about being a dinosaur. I should take you all back there right now and show you what he got going on in his room. I mean, the boy loves dinosaurs. He likes dinosaurs. So I'm thinking about taking him to the Prairie Farm Museum. And I know at one time when it first opened, they were real heavy with the whole dinosaur aspect. I mean, like you can actually go and touch this interactive screen and it makes the dinosaurs move around, or you can go and look at another screen. It's like a dinosaur chasing you. You can go upstairs and you can like dust off dinosaur fossils. Like it's like you're actually going on a paleontology dig. So he's wanting to learn more about dinosaurs, and I'm going to take him out there with research. I mean, when I was a kid, I liked dinosaurs too, but he's like dinosaur crazy. At one time, he liked sharks. So ask your kids what they like. What do you like? Let's go do research on that. Sometimes going to the zoo is very beneficial. And if you don't like the Kansas City Zoo, those who live in the Kansas City area, guess what? You can drive up to Omaha. They got a dope zoo. St. Louis got a nice zoo. They got nice areas here. They got the aquarium where all the fish and stuff are. I mean, sometimes looking at those aquatic animals, like, wow, why does that look like that? They probably looking at you the same thing. Why you look like that too? So I mean, find out what your kid's interested in. Also, one thing I do want to say is parents have those conversations at the dinner table, because breaking bread in front of each other is good. Having those conversations about what is active is good. Now, we talked about exercising the mind. We also got to exercise the body too, because let's be honest, a lot of us got that COVID weight. I mean, how many of us gained some weight due to being locked in on COVID? All right. So I know people are still kind of leery on going out. The first thing I was going to say was take your kids to the pool. Having them doing activities in the water is great. But if you feel leery about being around a lot of people, if you got like a private pool you can go to or something like that. I know some pools probably schedule time where you have, people are spaced out. Try that. Um, a lot of workout regimens outside. Go for a walk. Go for a jog. Get some bikes. Ride some bikes. Sometimes working out that body also works out your mind too, and that's what we want. Because the more we feel good, the more we feel healthy, the better we feel, and the more we want to learn. So keeping our bodies active during summertime is important, because when students lack that access to high quality summer learning and opportunities, the risk of falling prey to summer learning loss is very prevalent. Now, PE is a very important class when it comes to learning. All right, now, also missing out on summer learning is also harmful to children's physical health, as we said earlier, as it is to their academic health, because students who lack access to summer learning opportunities are less likely to be physically active too, hence sitting on a couch, eating junk food. Sedentary behaviors like watching TV or playing video games are contributing to America's exploding childhood obesity epidemic. American kids are fat, and they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm not talking about no one's kids. I'm just saying that our kids are getting very unhealthy, and we got to get them from in front of that TV and knock that controller out their hand. There's 90 days of summer, 90. And every day a student that is not participating in summer learning, they're losing every measure, okay? Fortunately, there are numerous ways, more ways that I discussed earlier that can assist our kids in getting more active mentally and physically. Now, parents, you got to find the right program. There are so many programs out there during the summertime. To name a few, you got Upper Room, you got summer school, you got Urban Rangers, you got Get a Job, you got Cutting Yards, you got babysitting, you got dance class, you got baseball, you got all that kind of good stuff. Parents, you got to search for free, low-cost, high-quality summer learning programs, or some of the costs, because sometimes we always look for the free way out. Sometimes you got to make that investment in your kids too. Research shows that students who take part in high Quality summer learning programs that combine academics and physical activity benefit substantially in improving their academic achievement, vocabulary, reading skills, social skills, work habits, attitudes, and readiness of learning. So all this stuff is beneficial to your kids. And to help determine whether a summer program is a high quality one, you gotta start looking for 6 elements when assessing a program. And this is off of edutopia.org. Now, first of all, you gotta find a program that broadens a kid's horizons. Like for example, on Friday, you gotta broaden your horizons, man. Your kid needs to have their horizons broadened. Okay. If your kids like in this little box right here, you gotta find something that will enlarge the kid's learning ability. You gotta expose them to new adventures, all right, skills and ideas. Now, I you can't become a great adventurer going to the same place all the time. You are an adventurer and an explorer if you go to different places every chance you can get. So your child needs to have the age of exploration in their mind. These could be activities like going on a nature walk, like we said earlier, using a new computer program. And when I say a new program, there's a friend of mine that I know. He actually does coding with kids, and that's good. It's a video game. We talk about how to make a video game, giving a presentation, visiting a museum, or attending a live performance. All those things are very helpful to kids. Like I said earlier, like my kid liked dinosaurs. He said he want to go see the dinosaurs down at Union Station. I think they're still there. I think. I don't know. We're gonna find that out because I want him to actually go and meet a dinosaur, which is cool. And hopefully, what I should do is do a live show of him having a big reaction of seeing a dinosaur right in front of his face. Could you imagine my kid on that movie, Night at the Museum, and that dinosaur come to life? All right. On a program that includes wide variety of activities such as reading, writing, math, science, arts, public speaking, projects in ways that are fun and engaging, like STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, math. I know KUAW did a radio program with students. Matter of fact, we still do. We have kids that do shows over the summer, and they're learning those communication skills. So we're going to get geared up on that. And if you are watching parents, if you want your kids to be involved in some type of broadcasting or communication arts piece from KUAW, please hit us up, KUAW.org or at KUAW LP985 at gmail.com, or call 816-599-6893, or send us a message on social media. We will definitely get your kid involved in something over the summer. A program that helps students build mastery. That's the key word, mastery. Think about it's like we're playing a video game. It's always good to beat the game, like playing basketball. Always good to beat the other team. Building mastery by helping them improve at doing something they enjoy and care about. This could be anything from creating a neighborhood garden or to writing a healthy snack cookbook or something. Let them like give a kid something that's new and give them an opportunity to master. Like when you're doing a puzzle. Now my brother-in-law, he's real big on puzzles, and I don't mean to call him out, but I love my brother-in-law. He's always doing something that's making his mind go. It's been a couple of times I would go over to his house, my sister's house, and they would have these huge puzzles on the table. And you would see, like, randomly people would just go and just sit down and just try to just put the pieces together in a puzzle. And then they would leave and someone else would come. And eventually everyone's around this puzzle trying to put it together, which is a beautiful thing. And it's great. I mean, that was very stimulating. So that's a good idea. Something simple, but get a nice little puzzle put together. Find a program that fosters cooperative learning by working with their friends on team projects and group activities such as neighborhood cleanup or a group presentation or a canned food drive. So cooperative learning is key. I know during this pandemic, a lot of people are working at home, and they probably will be working at home for the duration of their time at work. I know some people's businesses are actually closing down and saying you're going to work from home. Now, that knocks away cooperative learning. We all know that in life, you do some of your best work when you're working with other people. The phrase two heads are better than one is true. Collaboration happens when you cooperate. I remember Mr. Leon Dixon told me, founder of the WB Du Bois Learning Center, he said, power goes, power goes to the organized, and you get organized through collaboration. And that stuck with me. That made sense. You got to work with other people. I mean, we are a community people. You can't achieve a lot by yourself. You have to work with people and encourage your kids at a young age to work with people because that will help them in other aspects of their lives. Also, find a program that lasts at least 1 month, giving kids enough time to benefit from their summer learning experiences. So let them get in a routine of doing something. If you notice, like summer camps, they last for a while. I remember when I used to work at Kaufman Scholars, we used to take kids on college trips. You had kids that would take a couple of college trips throughout the summer, and that built on skills. They were actually doing college level work for them. So find something that takes the time for your kid to find interest and exercise skills. Now, family fun. Excuse me. Pardon me. Family fun. Parents can also do a great deal to support their children's summer learning through educational and engaging home-based activities that will help keep them mentally and physically fit and ready to start the new school year with success. Now, I'm about to give you a couple of ways to do some family fun. Now, I know when slime came out, you had a lot of kids sitting at home making slime. And I know some parents, some kids, some of their parents like, what different consistencies of slime can you do? So you had kids doing different types of slime. It was like it was crazy. I had a kid, she was a little slime dealer. She was running around selling different kinds of slime. And like she said, you want one stickier? You want one? Tell me what kind of slime you want. And kids would give her an order and she'd make the slime for them and she'd sell it. She also made little friendship bracelets for people. Matter of fact, I got the bracelet in my room right now. And she made this bracelet for me, and I still have it because, and I actually bought it from her because this is what she was doing. Um, so, which is cool. So, on that same path, or on that same path of thinking, parents read to your children or encourage your children to read to you and recommend books. We talked about reading earlier. We talked about getting in summer reading programs. We talked about all that. So we had like a whole big chunk previously on this broadcast in regards to kids reading more. Visit free local learning resources in your community that are entertaining, educational, and close to home, like libraries, parks, museums, zoos, rec centers, and also some of these colleges have programs too. Like I know it's not in existence anymore, but you had Upward Bound, you had Gear Up, you had programs like that that were open. And matter of fact, you might have with colleges still having like summer school or whatnot, you might be able to have your kid actually go in there and shadow a professor or talk to one. I mean, they're not doing anything. I shouldn't say that. It's downtime for them during the summer, so they may have opportunities for kids to come in and just pick their brains on stuff. Use that to your advantage. Um, Play fun math and word games that turn everyday household activities into learning. We talked about that too, like going to the grocery store and putting prices together. Now, my grandmother, I remember when Hypermart was out there on Bannister, and they have little calculators on the carts. So I would like do different math stuff problems, and I would tell my grandma, and she would answer them like that. And I'm like, man, I said, how's grandma getting all that together like that? My aunt said, well, grandma did work at Safeway. So my grandma was a cashier at Safeway, and she was, I mean, just a machine when it came to math. So I was thinking like that would have been a fun activity. Like if my grandma was still alive right now, I can see her right now, with my kid going out to just, doing math problems like that, or with me still. I'm fascinated about that. Let's see what else. Going on drives and asking kids to look up certain shapes, colors, letters, or words on billboards and signs. I know I was with Miss Natasha Elscari, and she taught me a game called Neon Signs. We were driving, I think we were driving to Texas or Florida. And on the bus, we all played Neon Signs. So pretty much the name of the game was just like that. You look at signs, and if a sign was missing a letter or something like that, we try to pronounce it. And the goal was to find like the funniest one. So we were running around finding different signs that said different things. So that, kept kids up and kept me up too. And then also we did one, uh, what's the one, like when you're driving and there's a light that's like missing or something like that? We do that one too. So yeah, little fun stuff like that. Um, Ask your children's teachers to recommend engaging, grade appropriate educational activities that you can easy access online and download at home for free. Or say, hey, is there a book I can read, or can I take a textbook home? Or what chapters will they be reading next year? So, okay, so if they're doing geometry next year, can you recommend certain geometry pieces? Or my kids on fifth grade level, they're going to the seventh grade next year. What can you give me to assist me in getting this reading level up? So ask the teacher, what can you give me to help me out? Get moving and get healthy. Turn off the TV. We talked about that earlier in the video games. Get into physical activity. Here's one: scavenger hunts. Scavenger hunts will help kids go around and just learn stuff. Like find a scavenger hunt that will involve a kid to do research. And also, I was gonna say another one too, where it was healthy. Turn off video games. It'll come to me later on. But oh yes, sleep. Let your kids sleep, because a lot of our kids are going through growth spurts, especially during the summer. Let them sleep. Let them get about 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Let them get adequate rest, because they're gonna need it. Me, I rest. I take naps. As old as I am, it's okay for your kid to rest and recharge, because when that school year hits, it's gonna be direct. So encourage your kid to take those naps in the middle of the day. It's okay. All right. And if they're up all night, give them a time to go to bed at a certain time at night. Don't have them up all night playing video games. Let's see, what else do we have? With a little time, planning, and creativity, parents can play an important uh, part in making sure that every summer matters in advancing their children's learning and health and well-being. So a lot of this falls on the parent, which is cool, because I mean, we're the kids' first teachers. Nothing wrong with that. All right, let's see if we can find some more cool things for our kids to do. I'm just cruising the net to find some cool stuff for our kids. We got private one-on-one tutoring. Here we go. Improving student engagement. This is on kpcrossacademy.org. Practical lessons for passionate professors. All right. These are for our kids who are more um, gifted. Now, I want to throw something out there. Well, there's not much on here, so I'm just going to top of the dome. We're almost at the end of our time anyway. But I will say this though: when it comes to lessons and doing things, you gotta be gotta be you gotta be creative in what you're doing for your kids, because your kids' minds are steadily moving. And during that middle school age, the adolescent age, your child's mind is moving faster than it will ever in their lives. So take advantage of that. Give them opportunities and skills to feed that, because the motor's running. And also for those younger ones, their their minds are recorders. They're recording everything. They're sponges. So you put something in front of them, they start doing it. Especially if they're seeing you doing it too. That's the thing, parents. You got to model the behavior that you want to see out of your kids. So I know we're working. I know we're doing a lot of things. However, when it comes down to it, you are your child's first teacher. You're your child's first line of defense when it comes to education. So if your kid sees you reading, or seeing you doing math activities, or doing a science project, or putting something together, or getting physically fit, or doing some planning, or doing some yard work, your kids are gonna want to do it too. And then also have your kids do it with you. Hey, look, come do this with me. And you give a kid an incentive. I mean, especially if the kid's not working. Now, if the kid got a job, I guarantee you, all this that we're talking about is going to be in their job. I mean, the math, reading, all that kind of stuff, the activity, it's going to be in their job. This is pretty much dedicated to all of our kids who um who are sitting at home and doing nothing. There's so many wonderful programs out there for our kids that they can exercise skills. I know a friend of mine, she has her boys playing baseball. And when they get done with one baseball league, they jump right into another baseball league. They're out there with their mom while mom is actually doing baseball type stuff. Like she's actually sitting down and doing the training and the schedules and writing down the scores for them and everything. So they're actually seeing their mom putting in work too, which is good. Um, so it's like a family thing. Like, yeah, we're playing baseball, but mom's actually working this thing with us also. So, that's one thing you can focus on. You got baseball, you got sports. I mean, whenever it comes down to it, do it with your kids. When you're working with your children and when you're working together, a lot of wonderful things happen. So when it comes down to it, parents, I'm going to go ahead and close on this note that it's our right and our responsibility as parents to ensure that our children get what they need educationally. Also, parents, we must work with teachers and also the community in order to close the achievement gap. Because what just took place half of this year and all of last year with the pandemic is it put us in a position to where we are behind. And only by working together we can be on track. My name is Tyrone Gathers Jr. You have listened to the Source of the Inkwell live on KUAW. In the Inkwell, education is like ink. Let it overflow and stay permanent. See you next week.